welcome back to my channel. It is a long series of videos on Python. In the previous videos we talked about list and a great deal of other things, and we also discussed slice a little bit. Now in this video I'm going to explain it in detail. So let's talk about slicing a list. To make a slice, you specify the index of the first and last elements you want to work with. As with the range function, Python stops one item before the second index you specify. To output the first three elements in a list, you will request indices 0 through 3, which will return elements 0, 1, and 2. Python doesn't consider the last digit, and the first digit starts from 0. So let me just quickly add some names. Let me quickly just make a list so that you understand what's happening. Waqar, and let me just add a couple of more names: Khan, Wajid, and let me just add one more name. Let's say Jawad. Jawad is my fourth name. Now just let me print names. Okay, and I'll get the list displayed. Now if I want to slice the list, by slicing I mean that I want to present specific items or specific elements of the list, then I have to use this command names, and then I have to identify the index. Let's say that I use 0 to 3 or 0 to 2, and let me just run it, and you could see that the first two elements are displayed, Waqar and Khan. Okay, and Python doesn't display the 2. Okay, so if the last index is 2, then Python will display 0 and 1, and 0 is our first element, which is Waqar, and 1 is our second element, which is Khan, and 2 is our third element, which is 2. And if you want to display Wajid, then you have to add 3, and this is how Wajid will be displayed. And if you want to display the whole list again, then you will have to add 4. Now if you want to start from 1, then Waqar will be not a part of the list. It will not be displayed. Here you could see that it starts from Khan. If you want to start from Wajid, then you have to add 2, and you could see that if you add 3, you can see that only one element is displayed, and you can see that now it is empty. So I hope that it is clear. Now let's talk more about list. Now if I just remove the last index, then Python will display the whole list. Now if I add just 4 here, okay, and I just remove this, and Python will display the whole list. Now if I just add 3, then it will be displayed till here. Now if the index, the first index is not satisfied, then Python will automatically start from the very first name, and similarly you could start from like here 1. Now you could see that it will start from Khan to Jawad, and so you can do it according to your needs, according to the requirements, according to the list. The syntax allows you to output all of the elements from any point in your list to the end, regardless of the length of the list. Recall that negative index returns an element a certain distance from the end of a list. Therefore, you can output any slice from the end of a list. For example, if you want to output the last 3 elements on the names, we can use the slice -3. Now let just me put -3, and you could see that the last 3 elements are displayed: Jawad, Wajid and Khan. We also talked about negative indexing in a great length in the previous videos. Now let's talk about looping through. Looping through a slice. You can use a slice in a for loop if you want to loop through a subset of the elements in a list. In the next example, we loop through the first 3 names in front. Their names is part of a simple, let me just write some specific names. Let me write names again. Let me just write a quick list names, and let me just show you what's happening. Car and Khan, Jawad, Zia. Okay, let me just friend it so you could see what's happening. Okay, now the first 4 elements are displayed. Okay, now let me just make a loop. Okay, let me just write some comments. Okay, let me just write a comment. Print here are the 3 people I would love to invite for dinner. Okay, now if I simply friend it, you could see that here are the 3 people I would love to invite for dinner. This is the comment that I want to add, but I am interested in loop. Okay, so and we already talked about loop, how to define loop, how to construct it in the previous videos. So for name and names, this is the structure that we follow for loop, and I want to display the first 3 names. Okay, now just print name, yes, print name. Let's see what happens. And you could see that here I got the loop Waqar, Khan, Jawad. Okay, this is our loop. Now I want to display the names in title form, so that the first letter, the first alphabet is capitalized of each name. Now, so title, we already talked about title a while ago in previous videos. So you could see that Waqar, Khan, Jawad. This is how we got the output. Now if I want to use upper, and it will be displayed as capital letters. Similarly, you could use lower, and you can also meanwhile I will just write it as title, and I will display the whole list. Okay, I will display the whole list. This is how we add loop through slice. Okay, through slice you can change the indexing as you want, according to your needs, according to your criteria. It depends which type of programs you are constructing, which types of list you want to make. It depends on the structure, it depends on your requirements. Okay, so you need to keep these things in mind, and you need to practice it. The more you practice it, the easier it will get for you to understand and remember. Slice are very useful in a number of situations. For instance, when you are creating a game, you could add a player's final score to a list. Every time that player finishes playing, you could then get a player's top 3 scores by sorting the list in decreasing order and taking a slice that includes just the first 3 scores. When you are working with data, you can use slices to process your data in chunks of a specific size. Or when you are building a website, a web application, you could use slices to display information in a series of pages with an appropriate amount of information on each page. Now let's talk about copying a list. Now let's talk about copying a list. Often you will want to start with an existing list and make an entirely new list based on the first one. Let's explore how copying a list works and examine one situation in which copying a list is useful. To copy a list, you can make a slice that includes the entire original list by omitting the first index and the second index. Okay, you should remove the first index and the second index. Okay, this tells Python to make a slice that starts at the first item and ends with the last item, producing a copy of the entire list. For example, imagine we have a list of our favorite foods and want to make a separate list of foods that a friend likes. This friend likes everything in our list so far, so you can create their list by copying ours. Now let's say that my foods, this is our variables, and we talked about variables, that how to, we talked about namings, what sort of names we can choose and what names we couldn't choose. Let's say that there are 4, let's say pizza and falafel and carrot cake. You can, okay, let's say that these are 4 foods. Now let me just add friend foods. Okay, now to add friend foods, I'll just make a copy of it. My foods. Okay, and I'll just display the whole. I will just add copy the whole list. Okay, and I already talked about that, what this colon means. When the indexing are not there, it means the whole list, the entire list. Now let me just add a comment. Okay, my favorite foods are, and just say friend my foods. Let me just friend it and see what happens, and it displays my favorite foods are, this is my list. Okay, now let me just add another comment, print, and let me just add a space as well. Okay, let me just add some space. Okay, and my friends favorite foods are. This is just a comment that I want to add. Okay, my friends favorite foods are. Here /n means space. Okay, so we add some space here. If you remove it, then there will be no space. Okay, so it's good to add space here, so the structure, the output looks appealing and pleasant. Now let me just add friend and friends food. Okay, now it will display the whole list because my friends food is equal to my foods. Okay, and my food is the entire list. Now I could if I add indexing like 1 2 3, then we could say that my friend's favorite foods are falafel and carrot cake. You could change the variables, like for example, you go to a restaurant and you say that my food is menu. Okay, and in menu you add all the names of the dishes, whatever is available, and then you here add your friend's food. Okay, and you say the menu, and the whole list will be displayed, and from the whole list you could consider, you can choose. Okay, let me just give you another example so that it gets clear. Okay, let's say that you have a menu. Okay, let's just make a quick list. Okay, and let's say that you have some dishes like pizza, and let's say carrot cake. Okay, and burger. Okay, and you say that if you want to say Ahmed, let's talk about Ahmed favorite. Okay, and from here you can choose. From here you can choose menu and just display it, the list. Okay, and you could see that, just print it now, print, and let me just add a comment. Ahmed favorite foods are. Okay, and here just add print Ahmed favorite, and you could see that pizza, carrot cake and burger are displayed. Now here you can choose, like from the whole menu, let's say that I want to choose the first two. Okay, so 0 and 1. Okay, so let me just choose carrot as well. So these are Ahmed favorite food. Similarly, I can also define it for other for my other friends, like let's say I add Bilal, and here I just change the index from 1 to 2, and here I said it Bilal. Okay, just add Bilal and just run it, and you could see that Bilal favorite foods are carrot cake. Okay, similarly you could just add as many names as you want, as many people as you want, and it will just make things appealing, beautiful and clear for the audience. Similarly, you can just, if you want to invite guests to your home, or if you are going to have a big party, a wedding, then you can just make a big list of food, of dishes, whatever, and then you can choose. Okay, and then you can add like how many people are there who want to eat pizza, how many people are there who are diabetics, things like that. So according to that you could just make the list properly, and you could divide the items according to the people. So these slicing and copying and these sort of things are very important, and to learn it, practice it. I also gave example of gamings, so it's gonna be really beneficial for you. Thank you so much.